It's a maroon monsoon in Tempe, Arizona, as the number 23 ranked Arizona State Gym Devils are set to host a tri-meet with them and number 1 Oklahoma and number 2 Cal right here in Desert Financial Arena. ASU, they're coming home after being on the road last weekend, and this is an absolutely massive meet that's going to be taking place here in DFA. I'm Tia Reed, joined by Heather Udowich, and I mean, like I just said, this meet is absolutely huge. ASU coming off of their best performance of the season thus far last weekend, a 196.7 against Utah. What did you see from them in that meet?
Yeah, so graduate Hannah Scharf had another incredible competition, taking home the floor title with a 9.925. Another standout performance by Jada Mangahas, who has really stepped up in that all-around position this season. Adding beam in the all-around has been great for her. She had a new career high of a 39.325 in that all-around spot. So a really strong finish for Arizona State at Utah.
And ASU, best meet of the season last week, but it's going to take that and then some if they want a chance to get a win over one of these top 2 teams. Let's start with number 2, Cal. I mean, Cal has just been on an absolute tear thus far this season. A little bit of a surprise coming in this week at number 2, led by Maya Lazan and MJ Frazier. Lazan, the 2nd overall all-arounder in the country. What makes those 2 gymnasts so special, Heather?
You know, they've got just incredible technique. When you watch these teams tonight, you're really going to see some premier gymnastics. And those 2 Cal student athletes, you know, they are well-deserved honors in that Pac-12 Gymnast of the Week. They've consistently held those roles throughout the first few weeks of the season. So I'm really excited to see what they're able to deliver tonight.
And, of course, the reigning national champions, undefeated, and the number 1 overall team in the country, the Oklahoma Sooners, are in town, and they've brought plenty of their fans with them. Oklahoma, they are just a powerhouse. They are ranked number 1 in 3 out of 4 events. What are you expecting to see from the Sooners tonight?
You know, they are just absolute elite student athletes. This is, I mean, some of the best college gymnastics that you're going to be able to see. They're ranked number 1 on every event except vault, where they hold the number 2 spot. So this is just about as good as it gets, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the all-arounders that they have competing tonight. Audrey Davis, Jordan Bowers, Catherine Lavasser, and Faith Torres. They have been just phenomenal this season, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they're able to do tonight in Tempe.
And, of course, it is a tri-meet, so might be a little chaotic tonight as all 3 teams will compete at the same time on their respective events. And as you can see, lots of fans here in DFA. Both the Sooners and the Golden Bears travel well. And, I mean, why wouldn't you travel with your team if they're ranked number 1 or number 2 in the country for this head-to-head matchup? For tonight, ASU being the home team, they will rotate in Olympic order. They will start on vault, then go to bars, beam, and then floor. Cal gets to start on bars. Everyone goes in Olympic order, but Cal will start on bars, then go to beam, floor, and finish it up on vault. And then Oklahoma, they start on floor, then we'll go to vault, bars, and end with beam. And this meet is just incredibly huge for multiple reasons. I mean, it is a Pac-12 meet for ASU, so this is a conference meet for them. Oklahoma is undefeated. They're looking to keep that streak going. And, I mean, ASU, they just had one of their best performances, their best performance of the season last week, and they want to build on that. How can you see that happening, Heather?
You know, they can really take advantage of this audience. There's a big energy in the arena tonight. ASU's at home against the best of the best. And, you know, when that's the competition, it's really incredible to see what teams are made of. So this is the type of lineups that, you know, we're going to be looking to see in that postseason. And when it comes to things like Pac-12 championships, NCAA regionals, and then nationals. So I know these student athletes are really excited to try to put their best foot forward and compete.
So time has run out on touch warm-ups, meaning we're just moments away from beginning. So we'll run through some lineups for you. For vault, for ASU, it'll be Jada Mangahas, Hallie Gregoire, Gracie Reeves, Hannah Scharf, Alex Theodoro, and Anaya Smith. On bars for Cal, it'll go Andy Lee, Maya Lazan, Ella Cesario, Gabby Perea, MJ Frazier, and Maddie Williams to anchor. And then on floor for the Sooners, Audrey Davis, Belle Johnson, Reagan Smith, Catherine Lavasser, Faith Torres, and Jordan Bowers. That is how these 3 teams will line up to start in this first rotation. A lot of things the same for a lot of these teams. A lot of the things the same for for these three teams. Not a whole lot of changes. One key one, though. Belle Johnson is slated to go on floor in place of Soraya Hawthorne. Johnson was listed as doing an exhibition, and instead she'll get that second spot. But ready to go on vault is Jada Mangahas, and with this meet is up and away.
Yurchenko layout full with a small hop on that landing. Jada is a great start on this event for the Sun Devils. You saw she has really nice, a straight line throughout the Yurchenko layout full with good amplitude. Just that small hop on that landing to get the Sun Devils started.
And here on floor, it's Audrey Davis for Oklahoma getting things started for the Sooners.
She is one of the most consistent athletes for Oklahoma.
So Cal just finished up their leadoff routine. Andy Lee got Cal off to a nice start, a hit routine for them to start. That's what you want. And here's Hallie Gregoire ready to go for vault for ASU.
Expecting to see a huge vault here. As we're just waiting for the judges to give her the salute.
Mangahas' score comes across as a 9-8 to start for ASU. So with that, Gregoire will be able to start her vault for tonight.
She's capable of really big gymnastics, high difficulty, and that's been the trend of the sport of gymnastics, so it's exciting to see what she's able to contribute to the Sun Devils. She'll open up with a huge 1.5. It's super hard landing to find because it's blind. You don't really know where you're at. She had this small hop or a small step backwards, which will be a slight deduction, but a really clean 1.5 twist. She had nice form throughout the air.
Gregoire, freshman for ASU. It's her first year in the Valley, and she's been doing great. She's already had a personal best of 9.925 on the event, scored a 9.825 last weekend in Utah. We'll see what her score comes out to be this week after that vault. On bars, Andy Lee started off with a 9.825. Maya Lazan just finished up. OU had Audrey Davis go 9-9 on floor. So Oklahoma off to a very strong start.
Head coach KJ Kindler is really known for her choreography and how she personalizes it for each individual athlete. And there we've got a replay of Arizona State on vault. You can see that small step backwards, which will be a slight deduction, but it looks like it'll be somewhere in the high 9.8s. Yeah, it'll come out to a 9.825 on vault.
And here's that change, like I mentioned, Belle Johnson in the lineup for Oklahoma on floor. This is her first floor routine of the season. She competed in an exhibition at Denver last weekend, but this is her first routine that will count for the Sooners. Gracie Reeves stands on the vault runway for ASU, getting ready to go. Ella Cesario is also prepping for her routine on bars for the Golden Bears.
Huge double back for her second tumbling pass. You know, OU's got such good depth in their lineup that they're able to make those last-minute changes and have successful routines, as we've seen tonight from Bella. Looks like we're moving back to vault with Gracie Reeves. She'll do her 1.5 twist. She has a tuck full and a half. We just saw that vault previously, but this time it's in that tucked position. Incredibly difficult to land, and Gracie does it like a pro. It's actually better to step forward on that landing. You've got a little bit more rotation, so it's ultimately you prefer that out of the student athletes. I would like to see a little bit cleaner form in the air. You saw her feet somewhat come apart in the air a little bit, but a strong vault.
And you saw Cal celebrating over on bars after Elizario finished up her routine. A really nice landing from her to keep that floor routine, that bars rotation moving for Cal. A couple of other scores that have come in. Hallie Gregoire, a 9.825 for ASU. 9.8 for Maya Lazan. Belle Johnson's score coming across as a 9.85 in her first floor routine of the season, so not a bad way to get started for Johnson. Coming up now on vault for ASU will be Hannah Scharf.
A fan favorite who has had such a successful career at ASU.
Gracie Reeves score a 9.775 from her vault. Gabby Perea set to go on bars for Cal, and this is Reagan Smith on floor at the moment.
Hannah will compete a Yurchenko layout full. Great amplitude off the table and a stuck landing. The first stick for Arizona State. And that's huge. That's really how these teams are going to be able to compete against each other tonight, really having stuck landings and clean routines. It's going to be neck and neck, so each routine and each 10th counts.
Hey, you get a stick from ASU, you get a stick from Cal right after it, and the Cal faithful is right behind us calling for a 10 from that bar routine from Gabby Perea. Here's Reagan Smith on floor. Smith, probably one of the most high-profile gymnasts in this competition right now. She was an alternate for the 2016 Olympic team for the United States. Now in her time at Oklahoma has been very, very successful with the Sooners, a 5th year, taking advantage of that extra COVID year.
Her last pass, a double pike and a stuck landing. I love how she landed with her chest up, straight over her hips. That's exactly what we're going to be looking for tonight.
There you see the replay of that Hannah Scharf vault that she had. She scored a 9.875, so the highest score thus far in ASU's rotation. And Reagan,
the double pike from Reagan Smith to close out her routine. To Tia's point, crowds like this and big moments like this are not new to Reagan, who has had an incredible gymnastics career even before coming to Oklahoma.
And Perea didn't get the 10 that the Cal fans wanted, but did get one from one judge, a 9.975 for Perea. Here's MJ Frazier, just a sophomore, but has been incredible for Cal in her time with the Golden Bears. Alex Theodoro on vault for ASU as you see her go.
Just a really difficult vault with that half on, and that's just about the best that I've seen her do all season. Super clean throughout the table, really straight on that landing, a slight hop on the finish, but nonetheless, very good technique throughout the air.
And the 10 calls coming in again, this time for MJ Frazier, following her routine on bars. So Cal is hitting routine after routine on bars, looking to put up a really strong score in this first rotation. Catherine Lavasser on floor for Oklahoma now.
And she is really just an all-around competitor. We're going to see big skills like that full in as her first pass, but she's able to dance beautifully throughout the routine. Really just the full package and a student athlete.
Reagan Smith scored a 9.95 in that last routine. Frazier's score comes in as a 9.95 from bars.
Levasseur just looking up to close up this routine. 1.5 right into that front half, into a shadow jump and a stuck landing by Anaya Smith. Yurchenko, 4.5. That's the most difficult vault that we'll see throughout the evening, and she stuck that landing. She has just been crazy good on that event for the Sun Devils this season.
Absolutely incredible, the quality of gymnastics that we are seeing right now. Anaya Smith with a phenomenal vault right there. Levasseur finishing up her routine, and then closing out on bars for Cal was Maddie Williams with a great routine of her own. Anaya Smith given a 10 by 1 judge. Will she get it from the other? Here's that Anaya Smith vault, just absolutely phenomenal.
Huge amplitude off the table, right into that stuck landing.
So Anaya Smith, a split with the judges, gets a 9.95, but still an absolutely phenomenal vault for her. It matches her career high. Just a great performance from her, getting things started for ASU. So complete hit rotation for ASU on vault, hit rotation for Cal on bars, and here's an exhibition from Lilia Perler.
Really nice vault for Perler, showing that she can step up and be dependable in the lineup if needed. A really good start for the freshman. Those exhibition spots are good for those student athletes that are starting out in their career, and they can get used to arenas like this with big audiences, a lot of energy, and she handled it like a champ.
Still a couple of floor routines left to go for Oklahoma. Casey Brown exhibitioning on bars for the Golden Bears. And on floor now is Faith Torres for Oklahoma.
A really another strong all-around competitor for Oklahoma. Opens up with a huge double layout. Incredibly difficult to compete.
So total scores coming in for ASU and Cal off the first rotation. Cal a 49.525. The low score drop was Maya Lazan. For ASU, a 49.275, dropping that 9.775 from Gracie Reeves. So Cal, comparatively the better start, but certainly a phenomenal start for ASU as well compared to where they've been in their first rotation the last couple of meets.
Torres just finishing up her routine here. Her last tumbling pass, front tuck right into that double tuck and a stuck landing. OU has just been phenomenal on floor. Their routines are incredibly consistent from beginning to end. You can tell their tumbling passes at the beginning all the way throughout with their dance and their elite passes. They look like they are not even breathing heavy. It is very wonderful to watch them compete on floor.
So a couple more floor routines left to go for Oklahoma. Like I said, that was Faith Torres. Just one left, actually. Jordan Bowers to anchor for the Sooners. And that'll be the last routine of the rotation before everything moves around.
And Jordan Bowers is just absolute textbook on this event.
Waiting for Torres' score to come in before Bowers can get started on her routine. There you see the Cal scores from their bars rotation. Absolutely phenomenal for them. A 9.925 for Faith Torres in that 5th spot. Jordan Bowers, a former elite, similar and a former elite similar to Reagan Smith. Another big name for this team.
Bowers is just absolutely exquisite on this floor routine. Each dance move is really precise. we're really in for a show tonight. Front double full right into that front tug. That'll be a huge bonus connection for Bowers. I just love how she moves throughout this routine. It's like you could take a picture image of each movement that she competes.
Bowers is phenomenal in all 4 events. Scored a 9.95 last weekend for Oklahoma.
A huge double pike for that middle pass. Those scores on the screen obviously don't include Bowers' score, so if she scores higher than one of the previous student athletes, OU's score will only get even higher than that 49.525. And they are tied with Cal at this point, and ASU in 3rd place with a 49.275.
A great routine from Jordan Bowers. So we'll get her score and tell you how this first rotation wrapped up when we come back from break right here on Pac-12 Insight. So the second rotation just moments away here. After that first rotation, Jordan Bowers a 9.975 to round things out for her. So she helps Oklahoma. They end with a 49.65 and take the lead after that first rotation. Huge from Cal and from Oklahoma. They're right on top of each other. ASU trailing by a little bit more, 49.275. But now going into this second rotation, ASU on bars, Cal on beam, and Oklahoma on floor. Getting ready to go for touch warm-ups. For ASU on bars will be Gracie Reeves, Cassie Barbonente, Sienna Samily, Jada Mangahas, Emily White, and Sarah Clark. For beam for Cal, Andy Lee, Maddie Williams, Ella Zario, MJ Frazier, Maya Lazan, and Gabby Perea. And then on vault for Oklahoma, Audrey Davis, Hannah Shibley, Catherine Levasseur, Jordan Bowers, Kira Wells, and Faith Torres. Heather, what are you looking for in this rotation?
You know, I'm really looking forward to ASU on bars. They are capable of some big scores on here. Vault this season's actually been their best event, but I think they could really be strong on bars. So I'm looking forward to them making really minor corrections. Stuck landings, you want to see handstands over the bar, on top of the bar, those types of things. When we look at Cal on beam, we really want to see hit routines. You know, it seems simple. You just go up and hit your routine, but beam, this is where these big meets are crucial. Early on in the season, you can see how the student athletes cope with the big arenas, the noise, the crowd, the teammates. It's really intense on that balance beam, and if you're off just by a millimeter, you can be off the beam. So you want to see stuck landings throughout the routine, good movement, and a nice finish on that dismount. And we go into OU on vault. You know, they are kind of known for their stuck landings on that event. That's really where they thrive in high-pressure situations. We're going to see some really difficult vaults. We'll see a lot of those Yurchenko full and a halves. They've got some front entry vaults, which are really unique and fun to see, not only for us as commentators and the fans in the arena, but the judges as well. You just saw one in the background. It was a front pike half with a nice stuck landing. Get ready for some big gymnastics on all 3 events, Tia.
Absolutely, and Oklahoma, this is the one event that they're not #1 in the country on. They trail Kentucky on this event. That's who holds the #1 spot. So Oklahoma, their arguably worst event, but they are still absolutely phenomenal. And then you mentioned Cal. I mean, Cal is great on beam. They had a great performance in this event. They scored the 2nd best score in program history last weekend against Oregon State, a 49.675 event score for Cal on this event right here. They're the first ones to take on beam, and this meet, like I mentioned before, it is electric inside Desert Financial Arena, meaning there's going to be a lot of energy. How does that affect your focus when you're on that event? Like you said, millimeters can be the difference between a great routine and falling off to the side.
Yeah, so you either thrive off that energy or you kind of cripple under the pressure. These student athletes have worked really hard to certainly be in the former and thrive. Cal, to your point, proved last week in their win against Oregon State that they're capable of shining in those high-pressure situations, with balance being their highest performing events. And they look just about textbook on this event in the warm-ups. You can see really nice positions throughout each skill, really clean connections, so they look like they're really going to utilize this energy in the arena.
Just about 40 seconds away from competition getting started. In this here, the second rotation. ASU over on bars last weekend scored a 49.175 on the uneven bars in their meet against Denver. They'll look to try to keep up with these two powerhouse teams. We knew it was going to be tough for ASU coming into this and where they rank comparatively, but they have a chance. They've put up some high bar scores in the past with this team. They're looking to try to replicate some of that here tonight.
Yeah, and starting off, ASU is certainly holding their own and making a fight to beat one of these top two teams tonight. And if they're able to hit and make nice, clean routines, if there's mistakes elsewhere, ASU can take advantage of that and take control of this meet. So I'm excited to see what they're able to do on bars in a few moments.
So time on 4-minute touch warm-ups has run out, meaning these three teams are ready to go for the second rotation. Like I mentioned, Oklahoma on vault, ASU bars. Cal beam leading off for each respective team will be Audrey Davis, Gracie Reeves, and Andy Lee. So those are the routines you should expect to see getting ready to go in just a moment. And there on vault goes Audrey Davis.
She competed a Yurchenko full and a half with a small hop forward. A really strong start for OU.
Now a decent amount of leg separation from Davis coming off the table. What type of deduction does that factor in?
Yeah, so thankfully since she starts with that Yurchenko full and a half, that'll be that 10-0 start. But certainly those form breaks, unfortunately, will be a slight deduction in addition to that small hop or step forward that she had on the event. As we move to Gracie Reeves on bars. She'll open up with a Jaeger, straight into that overshoot connection. A little bit of a form break when she caught the low bar, so that'll be a slight deduction. Really nice handstand to gear up for a dismount. Small step backward, but a really good start for ASU.
And Andy Lee getting started on beam.
Front aerial right into that back layout, step out, incredibly difficult connection. The starting roll on beam is crucial for the Golden Bears. It really sets the tone for the rest of the lineup.
Audrey Davis comes in with a 9.85 to lead off Oklahoma on vault.
I just love how Andy is moving throughout this routine. There's no stops. Oklahoma on vault, a little bit of a hop forward, so unfortunately since her chest was down in addition to the hop, that gives the judges the opportunity to take additional deductions. So I know that landing, although it was a fantastic vault, really high off landing, she gave the judges a little bit of room to take off.
That was Hannah Shively on vault for Oklahoma, one of the freshmen on this team. Very talented coming in, a 5-star recruit by College Gym News, rated coming in. So Hannah Shively's been able to get in that lineups right away for Oklahoma. Here on bars is Cassie Barbonente for ASU.
And she's just been fantastic this year for the Sun Devils on bars. She's battled through injury throughout her career, and this has just been so good to see her competing really strong for ASU. She gets ready for the dismount and a double layout. That step forward, but really well executed throughout the routine. She had really good lines, clean form. One of the biggest deductions will actually be that step on the landing.
Andy Lee in 9.875 to start for Cal on beam, so a strong start there as well. And Shibley score a 9.675 from her vault.
There's Catherine Lavasser on vault. She's capable of a huge score for OU. 1.5, and she fought for that stuck landing. You can see the excitement from the team. They really needed that.
Now look at the celebration. I mean, you could see her lean off to the side and really fight to hold on to that stick, and she did a great job of doing so. Here's Maddie Williams on beam for Cal. Sienna Samily going for ASU on bars now.
A little short on that first handstand. Great Jaeger right into that overshoot, a huge connection. A stuck landing. ASU's really had each student athlete build, and I think we've seen each routine get a little bit cleaner, a little bit stronger. And that's exactly what you want.
Back over to Williams on beam as she gets ready for a dismount.
You know, beam is all about confidence, and that's exactly what the first two student athletes from Cal have really embraced. You can see there's no second guessing as we move back to vault with OU.
Jordan Bowers.
She had that step backwards. It was a little bit crooked. I know those landings are unfortunately crucial for this event. And they've had a little bit of mistakes in their lineups in that area. Depending on if how big the step is, that gives the judges more room to take greater deductions.
And Jada Mangahas getting ready. Now, here's something interesting to note about ASU on bars. A lot of their routines look really, really similar, if not the same. How does composition of the routine play into maybe the judges' scores and how they're giving those out from top to bottom?
You know, I actually think that could hurt ASU when student athletes have really difficult, unique routines with fun connections. I think it kind of gives the wow factor for the judges, and it kind of keeps them surprised and joyful throughout the routines. When they become really similar, it makes it easy to make those comparisons mentally and see whose was better. So I think it gives more room for deduction, which Jada Mangahas did not give a lot of room for on that routine. I mean, that was just exquisite. You saw that stuck landing, and it was ice cold. Her chest was right over her hips, straight up and down on the landing. Really clean throughout all of her release, massive release moves. You see Coach Jay Santos is really proud of that routine, and certainly Jada gave him good reason to be.
As Ella Cesario gets ready on beam for Cal, and Kira Wells just finished up her vault. We'll see if we can get you some score updates. And Gracie Reeves had a 9.7, Cassie Barbonente a 9.825 for ASU on bars. For Cal on beam thus far, like I mentioned, Andy Lee led off with that 9.875. Maddie Williams a 9.9, and then for Oklahoma, they've been going on vault. Catherine Lavasser a 9.875, and then Jordan Bowers a 9.8. Like I mentioned, here's Ella Cesario on beam for the Golden Bears.
Huge series with that back handspring layout, step out. Now we've got Emily White on bars. She is just fantastic on this routine. You know, we talked about unique skills, and she's got one of those most innovative routines from Arizona State, opening up with a huge Chappage half, incredibly difficult. Emily looking to finish up strong with just the dismount. A small step forward or backward, but a really strong routine for Emily White, and that is really what she's known for. Really nice, clean gymnastics, high amplitude. That should be a strong score for Arizona State.
Faith Torres, it looks like a 9.85 on vault for her. There you see that replay coming across.
Just a small step backwards, but really clean throughout the air. I just loved her form. She had really nice pop and amplitude off the table for that 1.5 twist, and that was just fantastic.
Sienna Samily and Jada Mangajas had 9.85s for ASU on bars. So those scores picking up a little bit there for ASU, rounding that out. Is a replay of Sheridan Ramsey competing in exhibition.
Okay, so for those of you watching at home, that her vault will not count towards the team total. That's a really good opportunity for student athletes to get used to the arena, the equipment, performing in kind of high pressure situations of what it's like in these big time moments with a lot of energy in the arena. As we move on to bars, this is Sarah Clark. She's well seasoned in this anchor position on bars. Huge Jaeger. Into that pack salto. I just love how she floats throughout the apparatus. Just really nice movement throughout her routine. And a stuck landing. Exactly what Arizona State was looking for in that final spot in the lineup.
Sarah Clark, a great routine right there. Scored a 9.2 last weekend, so I'm sure that will certainly do better than what she did against Utah. Here's MJ Frazier now on beam. Cal on beam, a little bit slower, takes a little bit longer than bars and vault, so they've still got a couple routines left to go after Frazier, but they've been going along really, really nicely as well.
I just love how confident Cal is on this event. There is no second guessing from the student athletes. They move really fluid throughout the routine. As we can see from Frazier, she gears up for a dismount, 1.5, and a stuck landing. She really fought for that stick, really showing it off, and a huge celebration from her team.
I think this might be the third time of the night we've seen Cal call for a 10 on a routine. They're really excited, bring a lot of energy in here on the road. It's a Pac-12 meet, like I mentioned, between Cal and ASU, so they're wanting that for their regular season standings in the Pac-12. An exhibition going for Hannah Scharf not an exhibition. Hannah Scharf competing on bars.
Looks like there might have been a lineup change. But a great routine from Hannah Scharf. And, you know, she is just a seasoned veteran.
It's an exhibition indeed for Hannah Scharf, coming
okay.
So used to seeing her on that event
throughout
her time.
Yeah, we were checking lineups really frantically, confused out of our minds. But Hannah is just about one of the most consistent student athletes for Arizona State, as we saw on that bar. She's trying to crack into that lineup and prove that she's meant to be there on uneven bars. But a really strong lineup for Arizona State on that event. As you can see from the scores on the screen, they'll drop Gracie Reeves 9-7.
Spoke with ASU head coach Jay Santos earlier in the week. He said they maybe have a little bit more depth this year than they have in years past, and maybe that's something that's factoring into Hannah Scharf, someone who we're so used to seeing, and the all-around hasn't done it at all yet this season, not in that bars lineup, but is impacting this team in other places. Here's Maya Lazan
with a huge opening triple series. She connected back handspring, layout, step out. And she made it look so easy. A really beautiful beam performer. You can see why she's earned Pac-12 honors already throughout this season as she gets ready for her dismount. And a fantastic double full twist, incredibly difficult, and a stuck landing. You know, Cal might beat their beam performance score from last week at home. They've just been on fire on this event tonight.
I mean, that's about as good of a routine as you can ask for if you're Cal. And that's miles on. They still got one left. Gabby Perea is set to anchor this event. So you see that good of a routine in your 5 spot for the Golden Bears.
I mean, what a fantastic opportunity to anchor now. You know, all your teammates have hit their routine, so there's not a whole lot of pressure, and you can just go out there and embrace the moment. I know Cal is really looking forward to a big routine now.
Lazan having a little bit of fun with the bear head that they brought with them down from Berkeley. Lazan's score at 9.95.
Yeah, that was an absolutely beautiful routine. I wonder where they found the deduction.
So while we wait for Perea to get ready to go, ASU, they finished up on bars, a 49.225 from them. Oklahoma on vault, not quite matching their performance on floor, a 49.25 for them. Ended up being able to drop that 9.675 from Hannah Shively, but all of their scores were between 9.8 and 9.875, so no 9.9s for Oklahoma on vault. Something interesting, over half of the routines that they've competed coming into tonight's meet have been at a 9.9 or higher, so very interesting to see not a single 9.9 plus from them on vault. Now, like I mentioned, Gabby Perea anchoring on beam for Cal.
Yeah, pretty uncharacteristic vault rotation for OU. Just on those landings, they have fantastic vaults. I really just want to see them clean up their landings, and they'll be a really strong contender on that event as we move to beam. Opening up with a front tuck right into that back tuck. A really nice connection. You can see she's really square with the beam throughout it.
All eyes on Perea. She's the only gymnast competing, exhibition or otherwise, right now. A lot of pressure.
Yeah, these are, especially on balance beam, you know, that margin of error is just so small. But you have to be aggressive and confident throughout the routine, because that moment you second guess it often is what leads to error, which we have not seen a lot of from Cal. They have handled this pressure just incredibly well. A side semi right into that back 4.5, incredibly difficult. I don't think I've ever seen that live in gymnastics. I mean, I don't know how she had the power to have such a huge 1.5 from that side semi. That was just beautiful.
Didn't quite stick the landing, a little bit of a step, but a phenomenal routine nonetheless from Gabby Perea. A phenomenal rotation for Cal thus far. Without her score, they're sitting at 49.45, trying to drop a 9.8 from Ella Cesario, and there you see a replay of that dismount. Just absolutely phenomenal. So once again, while we wait for that score to come in, we will take a break as Oklahoma, Cal, and ASU are all square competing for tonight's win. We'll be right back with you on Pac-12's 2 rotations. Cal leads 99.1, Oklahoma second 98.9, and ASU a 98.5. So things aren't too far out of hand for anybody. Casey Brown on that exhibition, not able to get the dismount, but getting the opportunity to exhibition, important as well. But as I was saying, 6/10 separate ASU and Cal right now in this meet. Right before we went to break, Gabby Perea was finishing up on beam for the Golden Bears. Perea came in at a 9.925, so indeed did take away that 9.8 from Cesario. Cal finished with a 49.575. Not quite as good as their score from last week, but I don't think it's going to be every week that you're matching the second best event score in program history on an event. So certainly still great for them as they lead Oklahoma. That's something else to keep our eyes on because Oklahoma is undefeated this season.
Yeah, I mean, this is a huge opportunity for Cal to upset that #1 undefeated Oklahoma. I know they are just trying to build off of each and every routine and take advantage if given the opportunity. And it is business in this arena. These student athletes look just as focused as they can as they head into the third rotation.
Cal having a lot of fun, but definitely locked in, wanting to get a great score. It's a road score that would be huge for them as we get closer and closer to having 6 meets on the board for each of these teams, and NQS scores start coming across and being calculated. Getting huge road scores for both Cal and for Oklahoma would be important. ASU, a good opportunity for them to put up a good score as well. They've only gone above 196.5 once this season. It was last weekend, so they'd like to have that happen as well. And here you see some of the replays from that last rotation. A couple of sticks from ASU on bars. They had a great time for them getting a nice score and trying to keep up with these two other powerhouse teams.
ASU had some great stuck landings that we saw from Sarah Clark. They had about 3 stuck landings, which is huge. That's really where they can make a jump at one of these teams, is having nice clean routines when there is those opportunities to do so on things like stuck landings. Some highlights from OU. You know, as we said earlier, they had such great vaults in the air, but they just weren't able to have those clean landings. And that's why we saw a little bit of a lower score than normal for OU on the vault. See your huge Yurchenko 1.5, slight step backwards. Those were really where they had their biggest errors, and Cal was fantastic on beam. Just one routine after another, incredibly confident on the event. Really big skills too. Each student athlete's routine was so different than the next.
So some great routines from Cal rounding out that rotation. Really strong from them. They look great thus far. And Heather, we've talked about it, right? Cal is leading at this point in the meet. What do you think their focus should be as they move into this back half to try to stay out in front of not only ASU but Oklahoma?
I think Cal's just got to keep it one routine at a time. You know, they can't get ahead of themselves, especially with the arena. This energy in here is fantastic. When it comes to events like floor, sometimes you get a little bit too excited and there's room for error to jump out of bounds. So their endurance has to be key throughout the routines, and they need to have some clean landings. But they've got a floor and vault left, so they've got really good opportunities to win.
And, I mean, we've seen a lot of chaotic things happening in collegiate gymnastics thus far to this point of the season. What would it mean for Cal to come in and knock off Oklahoma here in this season?
I mean, that'd be huge, right? Oklahoma, the reigning national champions, undefeated. They've just had, I mean, Cal has been building their program for years. OU is really a well-established team in college gymnastics for being national champions multiple times. That would be massive for Cal. Huge for, you know, these programs that have been building over years.
Touch warm-ups underway for the second rotation. Like I mentioned, we're entering the back half of the meet. Oklahoma will be on bars, ASU on beam, and Cal on floor. Lining up for Oklahoma, Danielle Sievers, Catherine Lavasser, Faith Torres, Reagan Smith, Audrey Davis, and Jordan Bowers to anchor. For ASU, they'll go Kayla Lee, Gracie Reeves, Jada Mangahass, Sarah Clark, Hannah Scharf, and Emily White. That's what ASU will have on beam. And then on floor for Cal, leading off Jordan Kane, followed by Maddie Williams, Kyan Mayhew, Maya Lazan, MJ Frazier, and Andy Lee to anchor. That's what you can look forward to in this here third rotation. If you are Oklahoma at threat of maybe getting upset or knocked off here, what are you trying to focus on as you come into this back half of the meet with your quote-unquote worst event behind you already.
You know, there can't be any mistakes, and they've got to be clean throughout this event. But that's what OU's known for. They've been in this position before. Even last weekend against Denver, it was really neck and neck, and they pulled out the win on their last event floor. So they are really capable of still winning the meet ultimately tonight. But they're going to want to have no big mistakes. We don't want to see falls. We don't want to see the student athlete come off the apparatus. And we want to see hit handstands right on top of the bar, really nice big release moves, and a stuck landing to conclude the routine.
I think it would be absolutely phenomenal if we get some close, tightly contested gymnastics in here. Make it a fun Friday night here over on the West Coast in Tempe, Arizona. About 1 minute and 10 seconds left in warm-ups as you see these three teams preparing for the upcoming rotation. ASU, they've had a little bit of struggles in the back half of meets for them. Statistically, they are ranked number 27th in the country on beam, so sitting outside of that top 25, averaging a 48.963, under a 49. It's also, even though they're 27th, it's not their worst ranked event, but it is their worst average total on an event. What should they be focusing on here?
You know, beam is all about that pressure. Let's see how they handle it tonight with this full arena. These big-name teams coming in, they've got to be able to stay calm and confident and trust their gymnastics of what they've done in training and certainly what they're capable of. This is a really big moment for Arizona State, especially when they look into the preseason. They can look back on these moments and think, you know what, I've been in those high-pressure situations before and I've delivered. So this is a really great opportunity for Arizona State.
The countdown coming in, and the third rotation is set to get underway here. Moving along quite fast for having it be a tri-meet, already halfway through, and it's only been an hour. Still lots of amazing gymnastics ahead of us, though. Leading off for these respective teams, like I said, Kayla Lee on beam for ASU. On floor, it'll be Jordan Kane, her first routine of the night, and Daniel Sievers. All three of these lead-off athletes, it'll be their first routine of the night for their respective teams, so getting nice and warm here.
Kayla Lee is just fantastic in this starting position on beam. You know, she's one of those athletes just that is calm, cool, and collected.
Kayla Lee at 9.825 in their last meet, but scored a 9.925 a couple of weeks ago up in Denver. A great performance for her there in that meet for ASU.
She is certainly capable of a big score for Arizona State. She'll open up with a triple series, incredibly difficult, and a stuck landing.
And I mean, it's so telling about her confidence on this event, seeing as that she's a sophomore and is entrusted to lead off such a crucial event for the Sun Devils.
Absolutely, and she's just proven why she's meant to be in a little bit of a balance check on that sheep jump. Really difficult because you take your eyes off the beam, and unfortunately just had that small bobble.
And as Lee finishes up her routine, you saw Danielle Sievers go in the background on bars for Oklahoma. Here's a replay of Sievers' dismount. Nice stuck landing to get things going for the Sooners.
That's exactly what Oklahoma wanted, how they wanted to start off this event after that vault rotation.
And now Jordan Kane gets all the attention to herself over on floor.
Cal's really going to try to build on their lead with these floor routines, starting with Jordan.
Sievers a 9.95 in the leadoff spot for Oklahoma, so a quick recovery from a lackluster vault rotation for the Sooners.
Yeah, they are certainly not messing around. They mean business, and they want to keep their #1 spot and continue to be undefeated throughout the entirety of the season.
Kayla Lee matches her 9.825 from last weekend's meet.
Jordan looking forward to finish a successful routine here on floor as she gears up for her final tumbling pass. Beautiful. A fantastic start for Cal as we move on to beam with Gracie Reeves, who opened up with a series and it was stuck beautifully.
Gracie Reeves going. Kat Levasseur just finished a phenomenal routine on bars for Oklahoma.
Beautiful front aerial. Round off tuck, full and a half, and a stuck landing. That gets ASU right back on track after that slight uncharacteristic balance check from Kayla Lee, and that's what Gracie is really known for. She has just been absolutely fantastic in consistency for ASU. As we move to bars with Oklahoma, a beautiful stuck landing on bars for OU.
That's that replay from Levasseur. Back-to-back 9.95s to start on bars for Oklahoma. I told you it was pretty.
Yep, absolutely. And, I mean, OU is just fantastic on bars.
Here's Faith Torres.
Beautiful connection to that pack salto, just wonderful amplitude. See, she's got really great form. Her legs, her knees are nice and tight. Her toes are really pointed throughout the routine. Double layout, and then third stuck landing for OU. They came back after those vault landings with vengeance on bars.
And, I mean, Oklahoma, this is the event that they used to really power them to a win last weekend. As you see, here's Gracie Reeves at 9.875 in her score, and on floor now, Maddie Williams. But Oklahoma last weekend, a 49.175 against Denver on vault, came back in, scored a 49.6 on bars. So we know they can put up some really high scores on this event, and it looks like they're on track to do so.
Cal looking to keep that lead on floor. We're going to move on to beam with Jada Mangahas, who has really stepped up on this event to compete in that all-around position for Arizona State this year.
Faith Torres at 9.875 from her score.
Front aerial right into that back handspring.
Mangahas still getting used to competing on beam. This is her first season competing the all-around. She's done so the last couple of times, had a career-high 39.325 in last weekend's meet.
Great connection by Jada. Stuck cold on that front toss. You know, she looks like a seasoned pro on this event. You can tell the focus as she heads into the dismount. In a stuck landing. You can see she is pumped to hit that beam routine.
There's a replay from Maddie Williams on floor. Heather, I think there might be some glue on the floors here in Desert Financial Arena.
Yeah, Cal just looks absolutely electric on floor. Their tumbling passes are incredibly clean, and one thing that should be emphasized is the endurance of these student athletes on floor. And, I mean, they are just handling it beautifully. It's incredibly difficult to maintain such clean tumbling passes throughout the routines, and that has not been an issue for Cal tonight. Reagan Smith on bars with a huge routine and another stuck landing. I don't know what the team, what Oklahoma talked about in between that event, but they made some massive changes in that landing, and they are giving up hardly any room for error. This has been a massive night for OU on bars.
Another stuck landing and another 9.95 from Reagan Smith. The low score right now on bars for Oklahoma is Faith Torres' 9.875. That's what they're looking to drop. So after not getting a single 9-9 on vault, they've got 3 here on bars. Jada Mangahas at 9.925 for her on beam. A really nice score. That'll set a new career best for her.
Yeah, that was just fantastic. Jada really solidifying her spot in that all-around position this season. Cal back on floor.
And Cal, despite being on floor, is still keeping pretty nice pace with the other teams. This is Maya Lazan.
And I just love how much fun the student athletes are having on this event. Moving back to beam, Sarah Clark. She is just a beautiful athlete. She's really able to emphasize her artistry throughout the routine on the balance beam. Back handspring layout, step out, stuck. They have just been rock solid on their series tonight. Little bit of a balance check with that step backwards, but she covered it up really nicely, kept the routine going.
Audrey Davis at 9.975 just finished up on bars. Another huge score for the Sooners.
Sarah, just the dismount. And another stuck landing for Arizona State. Each routine is really just built on top of one another. We're going to look at a highlight real quick from Cal. 1.5 right into that front full. Beautiful. Cal is not giving the judges a lot of room to take deductions. We've got Audrey Davis on bars, a huge eagle into that double front with a half dismount stuck. She is one of the best bar performers in the country. Certainly a fan favorite on that event, and I know that'll be a big score for the Sooners.
And here's Jordan Bowers wrapping up on bars for Oklahoma. A quick correction in the Cal lineup. It's the same athletes, but just a little bit rotated. So they actually led off with Maddie Williams, and a great stick from Jordan Bowers there.
Unbelievable. OU might have every routine tonight be a 9-9 or 5 or higher count towards their team total.
Phenomenal for them.
Yeah, they're closing the gap.
So Cal led off with Maddie Williams, then went to Kyan Mayhew, Maya Lazan. This is MJ Frazier. Andy Lee will go next, and then Jordan Kane will anchor rather than lead off for Cal on floor. So a slight change there. But here's MJ Frazier. She's phenomenal. Last week at 9.925.
In a huge double layout. You can see she stuck that, no questions asked.
Sarah Clark at 9.975, and a 10 for Jordan Bowers on bars here at Desert Financial Arena. Wow.
What a fantastic score for OU. A 10.0, unreal. And Jordan Bowers just a fantastic all-around athlete. She is having a phenomenal night.
Last weekend scored a 9.975. This weekend gets a 10. It's the first 10 for Oklahoma this season on any event from any gymnast.
MJ's going to have to really manage the noise of the crowd and still be able to utilize it in her floor routine. Now we've got Hannah Scharf on beam. Stuck that side semi after a little bit of a balance check on her series. Switch leap right into the split jump, done beautifully. Round off 1.5, a small step backward, but a pretty clean routine for Hannah Scharf.
And as Hannah Sharp finishes up, just one more routine left to go, or a couple more routines left to go, but the event total score for Oklahoma after that bars rotation, a 49.825. Absolutely massive for the Oklahoma Sooners. What they were able to accomplish here tonight, it matches their program best score on the event. They scored it 2 seasons ago against Michigan. Now they score it here tonight against Arizona and Cali, 49.825.
I mean, this is just, not only is this fantastic gymnastics, but they are performing it at some of the best and highest level that they're capable of doing. I mean, a historic night on bars for Oklahoma. That was just fantastic. What beautiful routines, great amplitude. That's what they're going to try to deliver at the end of the season to try to go for another national championship. We move to floor with Cal.
So this should be Andy Lee on floor for the Golden Bears. A 9.85 from Hannah Scharf. Emily White getting set to close out that rotation for ASU.
A beautiful double turn on floor. Incredibly difficult. You don't see that often in college. Cal has certainly delivered tonight on floor. But if they want to take OU with that massive 49.825, they're going to have near perfect routines throughout the night. Now we have Emily White finishing up her beam routine, and she's just been rock solid throughout this event. Double stag stuck beautifully, incredibly hard as you are actually blind for a moment. You can't see the beam. I love how she just moves throughout the routine. She doesn't have any moment of second guessing herself. She gets up for the dismount, back handspring 1.5, and a stuck landing. ASU has just been on. Was it not? Was it not?
I think she tried to hide it, but I think she might have slid that foot back just a little bit.
Okay.
It didn't quite go for the stick.
That's fair.
Maybe the judges have a different opinion on that. It was a little bit questionable there. We'll see if we get a replay on that. But nonetheless, a great routine for Emily White here. And look, we'll see it in the replay.
Yeah.
That
you're right.
That's
Back
a
step.
little bit on that left foot. Still a great routine, a great anchor routine for ASU. Emily White a 9.9 from one judge. We'll see what the total score is. It looks like she got 9.9 from both. So despite the step of 9.9 to end things off for ASU on beam. And one more routine left to go. For Cal. This is Jordan Kane going for the Golden Bears, anchoring instead of leading off.
Really important moment for Cal. I love her confidence on the event. You could see when she walked on, just so sure of herself. A little bit of a form break in that first pass. That front 1.5 twist. You saw her leg slightly come apart at the end of the twist. Beautiful leap series. 1.5 layout, right into another leap. I know that's exactly what Cal was looking for that anchor routine from Jordan Kane. Even though they had that slight that change in lineup, they handled it incredibly well. This is Kimmy Smith.
Kimmy Smith doing an exhibition. She's been in and out of this beam lineup for ASU. Started the year in it. Was replaced by Jada Mangahas as Mangahas took on the all-around, but Smith still giving an exhibition routine as she's still definitely an option for ASU in this lineup.
You can see why with that beautiful gainer full dismount. Stuck landing, no questions. You know, those exhibition routines and those student athletes in the lineup spots 7, 8, 9 are really crucial because you never know what happens throughout the season. It's a long year for these student athletes. So when injuries arise, sickness, whatever the case may be, you need to make sure that you have that depth in the lineup that's ready to step up and compete and ultimately deliver.
So, third rotation as we get Jordan Kane scoring 9.875. An absolutely massive 49.825 from Oklahoma. ASU, a great beam rotation, 49.425. Cal, very strong on their own, 49.35. We'll see where Kane's score replaces in. But right now, Oklahoma takes a surging lead over Cal. We'll see what these three teams can do when we come back. Actually, we'll stay. There's an exhibition routine happening on floor for Cal. That's my apologies. So one more routine that we'll squeeze in for you with the Golden Bears. Ella Cesario doing an exhibition, getting some work in on floor.
Floor is such a fun event to compete because the student athletes can really shine, have their personality shine, and you can really use the energy in the arena to build and have a really strong, powerful routine.
With Kane's score factored in, Oklahoma holds a 2/10 lead over Cal after that phenomenal rotation, a 148.725 thus far. Cal a 148.525. ASU holding their own, a 147.925 thus far in this meet, going to floor, an extremely fun event for the Sun Devils. I mean, we've just seen great gymnastics here all night, Heather.
A little bit of a hop on that landing, unfortunately, because this was such a strong routine. She's able to clean up that landing. I know she will be a really strong performer and can be for Cal on the floor exercise.
So with the end of that routine, that will take us into break. We'll be right back with the fourth and final rotation of this exciting Tri-Meet at Desert Financial on Pac-12 Insider. Exciting Tri-Meet, and we'll take a look at some of the best moments from that last rotation. Here you see ASU on beam had some nice scores, a 49.425. So a great rotation from them and looking to improve that average on beam, really get some nice beam routines and rotations in place for them, get some momentum going into the rest of the season. Some really beautiful routines from the Sun Devils on beam.
Absolutely, and some really great landings. The majority of student athletes from ASU stuck their landings, which is just fantastic because that, if you don't have mistakes, you have a nice clean routine. That really is the explanation point at the end of the routine, and that was huge for Arizona State on the beam. As we get ready for the fourth and final rotation of the evening, just a few moments away.
And here's some highlights from Cal and their last rotation on floor. A great rotation from them as well. Really strong from all three of these teams thus far, and this is why it's been so competitive and so fun. A 49.425 from them as well, with the low score dropped to 9.8 from Andy Lee. So some really great scores from Cal in their second to last rotation.
Just absolutely beautiful tumbling passes. You can see the amplitude throughout each skill and the stuck landing at the end. A huge double layout here from MJ. I mean, those are the big skills that the judges are really looking forward to. Some more tumbling highlights from Cal. I mean, you could just see the consistency and not only the technique of the tumbling passes, but the grace as they were able to dance out of a lot of their landings. Some really unique gymnastics. OU on bars, I mean, this is just one of the best rotations that you're going to see in college gymnastics. Look at these dismounts, stuck landing one after another. Some beautiful artistry here, huge gymnastics.
Oklahoma was just absolutely on fire. I mean, this was one of the best rotations, easily the best we've seen thus far tonight. Just a great rotation, obviously one of the best bars rotations in their program's history, and now they'll get ready on beam, trying to take things home and come out and hold on to that lead spot. But Cal will be on vault. That's where they'll finish up. ASU on floor as the home team. Lineups, barring any changes, of course. But for ASU, they'll go Kayla Lee, Hallie Gregoire, Kimmy Smith, Emily White, Jada Mangahas, and Hannah Sharp to anchor. She's been so strong in that spot. And then on vault for Cal, Maddie Williams, Casey Brown, Kyan Mayhew, MJ Frazier, Maya Lazan, and Jaden Silvers in the anchor spot. And lastly, Oklahoma on beam, Audrey Davis, Kira Wells, Jordan Bowers, Faith Torres, Catherine Lavasser, and Reagan Smith to close things out for the Sooners. Super exciting routines coming up in this final rotation that we are just a minute and 30 seconds away from getting started with. There you see the scores as it stands coming into this final rotation. Very tight race between Cal and Oklahoma. ASU holding on, trying to get a nice score from themselves, 8/10 behind Oklahoma, but still able to put up a nice score if they can come together on floor.
Yeah, and for those of you at home that are tuning in, the scores are crucial. Sometimes the win-losses, though they're fun, a huge score for Arizona State would be really helpful as they head into postseason. When you get ranked into NCAA regionals, it's based on your NQS. They take your top 3 road scores and your top 3 home scores, drop the high, drop the low, and average the remaining scores. So the point capability that ASU is able to deliver tonight will be crucial for that postseason lineup and where they ultimately compete at NCAA regionals, then hopefully nationals.
So warm-ups.
We've got about 30 seconds left for the student athletes to conclude their touch warm-up on this final event. A huge opportunity for OU finishing up on beam.
Oklahoma last week a 49.425 on beam, but they are ranked number 1 in the country here. Cal on vault last weekend a 49.3, and then ASU up in Utah last weekend on floor a 49.25. They struggled on floor this year. It's been tough for them. They've had some ups and downs, ranked 43rd in the country. So certainly looking to improve their floor scores here in this meet, especially when you've put up 3 really good events. You want to be able to put together that full meet if you're ASU in this environment. You've got to finish it out and close things out here on floor, and it'll start with Kayla Lee. For the other 2 teams, Oklahoma and Cal, they'll have Audrey Davis and Maddie Williams lead things off. 2/10 separating those 2 sides in this final rotation, and here's Lee to get things started for everybody in this final rotation.
Like Tia said, this is a massive opportunity for Arizona State. They've really struggled on floor throughout the season, so let's see what they're made of, starting with Kayla Lee. A huge front double full, incredibly difficult. And a fantastic middle pass. She has just been a great start for Arizona State so far on the floor exercise. This is exactly what the Sun Devils want to do.
Audrey Davis is up on the beam for Oklahoma, and here's
and a great front 1.5 to conclude a fantastic start for Arizona State on floor.
So here's Audrey Davis after Kayla Lee wrapping up a strong leadoff routine for ASU.
And I just love how sharp she is from each movement. And we have vault Cal with a Yurchenko layout full, really fighting for that stick landing, a little bit of a balance check at the end. We're moving back to beam with Audrey Davis, finishing up for Oklahoma with a massive round-off double twist and a stuck landing. What an absolutely just a fierce competitor to start Oklahoma off strong on this final event.
Oklahoma certainly picking up where they left off on bars. It was stick after stick, and here's Audrey Davis with a leadoff stick for Oklahoma on beam. Kayla Lee, a nice routine to get things going. Maddie Williams had her leadoff vault as well. Second up for ASU, it's the freshman Hallie Gregoire. She's been great thus far this season. One of the younger athletes for the Sun Devils getting into the lineups, and here is Audrey Davis to score a 9-9 to start.
Yeah, that was just an absolutely gorgeous routine for Oklahoma.
And it'll be a 9.775 for Kayla Lee in the leadoff spot. So not a bad way to get started. Certainly some things to be improved upon throughout the lineup, but a solid start out of your leadoff, which is what you want.
A really big opportunity for Arizona State to build from that starting position. Hallie really capable of a big score here. She's got really difficult tumbling passes and is able to execute them just really nicely. She'll open up here with a huge full twisting double back and a stuck landing. A little bit of a form break in the air, but just a fantastic landing.
Energy is building here as Kira Wells is on beam right now. Ella Cesario took Casey Brown's spot in the vault lineup and just finished up over there. Gregoire continues working through her routine.
Finishing up with a massive front 1.5 to that back layout step out, and that was just beautiful. This should be a big score for Arizona State.
Hallie Gregoire finishing with that forks up high in the sky. We'll move to Wells now on beam for the Sooners.
And she has just been rock solid throughout this event. Finishing up with a round off 1.5 twist and a stuck landing. Really able to show off that stick. She landed absolutely perfectly. A replay from Cal, Yurchenko layout full and another stuck landing. Absolutely massive. That was a textbook Yurchenko full. You can see she got really good distance from the table. Really nice, clean layout full throughout the air. We're going to see another vault from Cal. And a Yurchenko 1.5 twist with a slight step backward, but really nicely done. I love how she just kind of got higher throughout the air as she completed the 1.5 twist. Just had that small step on that landing.
So Cesario, a last-minute implant into the lineup, a 9.875. Maddie Williams had a 9.7 to get things started. Kira Wells, a 9.95 for Oklahoma on beam, and Hallie Gregoire, a 9.85 in that second spot for ASU. Here's Kimmy Smith for the Sun Devils.
A really big opportunity for Kimmy.
Really fun routine as well.
And she performs it just nicely. You can see her movements align perfectly with the music. Opening up with a huge double pike and a stuck landing. fantastic second pass for Kimmy. You see she's having so much fun on in this routine. Really embracing the moment, the energy in the arena.
Jordan Bowers on beam now. MJ Frazier just had a huge Yurchenko double for Cal on vault.
Final pass is a double tuck, a little bit of a hop on that landing, but a much better routines that we've seen from Arizona State is exemplified from Kimmy Smith. Just with that slight hop on that last pass and the double back. As we move to OU on the balance beam, Jordan Bowers, a slight balance check early in her routine as you just saw the end of it. Just to dismount, a round off double full. And I mean, that was just beautiful.
Here's that replay of MJ Frazier on vault.
What a fantastic athlete. That was just absolutely massive. See her showing off the stuck landing.
Frazier at 9.925 she was given, and then here's that Jordan Bowers dismount. Maya Lazan just had her vault. We'll see if we can get you a replay in just a moment. Kimmy Smith at 9.85. There's that Lazan vault replay. Holy cow.
A massive Yurchenko 1.5 and a stuck landing. I mean, Cal is just building off the energy. Each routine, I don't know how they do it, but it looks like they get better and better as the night progresses.
Jordan Bowers at 9.9 from her beam routine. Here's Emily White on floor for ASU. Maya Lazan, you can see it right there at 9.95 off of that vault. So Cal trying to keep pace with Oklahoma.
A fantastic front double full to open up her routine. Emily's had a little bit of endurance problems throughout the season. So as we progress into the middle of the college gymnastics season, looking to clean up those errors.
Faith Torres is on the beam for the Sooners, and Jaden Silvers is prepping for the anchor vault for Cal. So in just a moment, they'll be done. Here's that real quickly for you.
1.5, a slight step backward, but a really strong finish for Cal. So we move back to Emily White. Endurance is not a problem for her tonight. Her tumbling passes have been just really massive, executed nicely.
Having a great time to the Lady Gaga music in her routine. Finishing up her routine there. Very strong for ASU. Now Faith Torres catching the tail end, but a nice dismount from Torres.
She is just a fantastic all-around addition for Oklahoma this year. Just really consistent, a solid athlete on each event. You see she is really able to embrace each skill.
Silver's a 9.825 for Cal. So Cal is done. We will have their final score once Silver's score is factored in. Here's a replay of Torres during her routine. Some nice leaps there.
I just absolutely love Oklahoma's artistry on this event. You can see them really showing off their gymnastics.
Torres a 9.975. Huge score there for Torres. 9.9 it looks like for Emily White on floor with the vaults factored in. Cal a 49.425. So Cal's final score is a 197.95. That's where they sit. Oklahoma still has some time left to go. They've got 2 more routines left to go for them on beam. ASU has 2 left to go here, including Jada Mangahas on floor. But Oklahoma can take that lead and hold on to it with some 2 nice routines here to finish off.
Expect a big routine here from Jada. She'll open up with a huge double twisting double back. and a stuck landing. That was just fantastic.
Talk about high energy. I feel like I say it every time I watch her compete, but Jada Mangaha is incredibly energetic when it comes to floor. Does a great job on it.
She's just electric on this event. A very fun performer. You can see all her teammates on the sideline performing her routine with her.
Kat Levasseur is up on beam in that 5th spot for Oklahoma at the moment. We'll see if we catch the tail end of her once Mangaha is finished.
ASU really building one routine after another. They've been stronger and stronger as these lineups have progressed on the floor exercise. Finishing up with Levasseur on the balance beam. Just an absolutely beautiful performer. That is textbook artistry.
Levasseur, a great routine. We'll get you a replay in just a moment of what she was able to do while she was up on the beam. Obviously caught that dismount, the tail end, like I said we would. Able to squeeze that in once Jada Mangaha finished up. So left to go, Hannah Scharf, and there you see Levasseur on beam.
Absolutely beautiful, just showing off her artistry.
Levasseur will be followed by Reagan Smith in that anchor spot for Oklahoma. Hannah Scharf will anchor for the Sun Devils. A 9.85 for Jada Mangaha, and there's that dismount. You saw it live. There's the replay. Levasseur a 9.925 for Oklahoma. So with that, the suspense might be taken a little bit away from it. Oklahoma, 198.375 is where they sit with one routine left to go, meaning they could improve upon that score. Their low score currently on beam is the 9-9 leadoff from Audrey Davis. So if Reagan Smith gets above a 9-9, that score could go higher. But for now, we'll take the time to enjoy Hannah Scharf on floor for ASU.
Scharf is really seasoned in this anchor spot on the floor exercise. She'll open up here with a huge front tuck and that double tuck. Beautiful. I love how much fun she has with this routine. You can see her embracing the moment. As she gears up for this middle pass. Hannah's really a dynamic athlete on this event. And a strong double pike finish for Hannah Scharf, a fan favorite here at Arizona State. Finishing with that signature pitchfork.
Here's the tail end of Reagan Smith.
Slight step on that landing. Where OU should be just incredibly pleased with themselves. You see wonderful connection there from Reagan Smith. She's a really sharp athlete on this event. Some gymnasts are a little bit smoother. Reagan, really sharp, wants to exemplify each position throughout the routine.
So we'll see what these last two scores come in at. Reagan Smith's ready to turn around, and a 9-9 for Reagan Smith. So Oklahoma will stay at 198.375. Reagan Smith tied Audrey Davis's score. There you see Cal's final scores from their vault rotation. And a sharp score on floor, a 9.875, finishing up for ASU. We'll see what that factors into as you see the rest of the ASU scores. loading in there. Sarah Clark competing in exhibition with tonight's score. Oklahoma ties their season high of 198.325. So saw some really nice, beats their previous season high. It was 198.325. They score 198.375 tonight. So some beautiful gymnastics from the Sooners. Sarah Clark this exhibition.
Just like the other exhibitions that we've seen throughout the night, this will not count towards Arizona State's final score.
Oklahoma's also got an exhibition of their own going on beam. After that phenomenal rotation, it's Weir up on beam. Amy Weir competed primarily exhibition routines throughout her prior 2 years with the Sooners and doing so now.
Sarah finishing up with a double pike. She's really made improvements on floor exercise from the start of the season. She, like Emily White, had a little bit of endurance problems, but that was not an issue tonight, as she was able to perform all of her tumbling passes and leaps really nicely.
So a great finish from Clark, and we're a little bit too late getting to that dismount. We got the other ones. Amy Weir, a nice exhibition routine for the Sooners. So we have the final scores totaled here. Oklahoma a 198.375, Cal a 197.95, and ASU best their score from last week, gets their first 197 of the season, a 197.25. With that, we will take a short break and be right back here on Pac-12 Insider in just a moment. So this meet here tonight in Desert Financial Arena has wrapped up. We saw some amazing things. Here are your event title winners on vault. Anaya Smith and Maya Lazon tied at 9.95 on bars. It was all Jordan Bowers, that perfect 10.0. Oklahoma takes it again on beam, this time thanks to Faith Torres. Floor, Jordan Bowers again, 9.975. And your all-around winner from tonight, none other than Jordan Bowers with a 39.675. But a couple of other high all-around scores, a lot of 39.6s and higher. ASU, Jada Mangajas had a personal best at 39.425. So great stuff all around from all three of these teams in tonight's meets. That's sure to give all three of them a boost of energy, momentum going into next weekend.
This was just such a successful night for all three teams. I mean, this was some of the best college gymnastics that you're going to be able to see. So, I mean, just to have such successful scores, I mean, this was just absolutely fantastic gymnastics.
ASU, their next meet, continuing on with Pac-12 action, heading up to Palo Alto to take on the Stanford Cardinal. That'll be the Sun Devils next time out. They'll look to keep improving upon this score, try to get a nice high road score. Last weekend's score of 196.7 was also on the road, so really helpful. Our next ASU live stream is tomorrow night at 5 p.m. men's hockey, continuing their series against Lindenwood, looking to put the bow on that. Our next gymnastics stream will be March 15, a long time from now. It'll be senior night when ASU is hosting Southern Utah, right back on ASU Live Stream 1. For the entire stream team production, staff, and crew, for Heather Udowich, I'm Tia Reed saying good night from Desert Financial.